Hey, bladeblabber here with another knife review. This is my first benchmade review, and it's of the benchmade griptilian, and this is the 550HG model. This is how the knife comes in this blue box, benchmade box. Then inside the box you have this cloth pouch, and that's where the blade is in. So when you put this knife in your hand, just feels like you can just feel. It's great quality. All benchmade products are great quality. You don't really have to worry about getting a bad quality blade when you're going with a benchmade. I think the same way with Spyderco. And Cold Steel I used to, but not so much anymore. They've lowered their quality a little bit lately. But with benchmade and Spydercos, you can't really go wrong with those. So it has this Valox handle, which is basically just some kind of polycarbonate plastic type of handle, and it has this checkered texturing in it, which I think works pretty good to hold your hand in there. And the handle is has a 420J liners, steel liners inside of there. I do not know. Give me a minute. Let me grab a light. I don't know if these are skeletonized handles. This is the I'm using the Streamlight Stylus Pro here. I don't know if these are skeletonized handles. Yes, they are. They are skeletonized liners, which is cuts down on weight if you really care about that. I don't really mind if it is skeletonized or not skeletonized. If you don't know what skeletonized is, it's basically the steel liners inside the handles to make them stronger. Have holes cut out of them to save weight. I don't know if you care about that or not. I personally don't. I don't think it makes much of a difference, but you may differ. Like I said, it has that axis lock, great lock. No blade play at all. But the one thing I really like about this axis lock is to deploy the knife, you can just push down those buttons and flick it out. And same thing for closing it. You can just push on those buttons and flick down to close it. And like I said, the axis lock holds it great, no blade play, locks up really tight. It does have some jimping up on the handle itself and on the top of the blade and on the bottom of the handle. So you get great traction on this blade. I wouldn't worry about my hand slipping off. The things you're going to be using this knife for would be an EDC knife. Sorry about that, I was hearing something, my dog. But it'd be an EDC blade or even a self-defense knife, because the blade is big enough to fill that option. For the specs, the weight is 3.25 inches. The steel is 154 cm, which is a great steel, one of my favorites. No problems with 154 cm. And like I said, the lock type is axis. The axis lock. The blade length is 3.45 inches. So it is big enough to use in a defensive situation if you really wanted to. And it has that weird modified sheep's foot blade. It's a hollow ground blade, and it has a modified sheep's foot, which I don't have any problems with. It has a good sweep, so it makes it a pretty good EDC blade for chopping food and stuff. I personally think the hawkbill blade is better for opening packages that blade curved down, just because the tip just rips through everything. But this still does pretty good. And the blade thickness is 0.115 inches, so it's a little over 2 millimeters. It does have an adjustable pivot screw right here. Let me let the camera focus. It has an adjustable pivot screw right here, and it has screws all through it, so if you want to, you can take this knife apart. You flip it over, and it does have this black pocket clip that rides pretty low on the handle. It could go higher, I'd rather have it about right here. But sometimes with my knives, I just feel like it's better to have them just a little lower, then you have something more to grab onto to pull it out of your pocket. The pocket clip holds it on there great. I have not had any problems with it ripping my pockets. I hear a lot of people seeing how their knives pocket clips against the texture is ripping. They're like shredding their pocket material. I've been carrying knives for a long time, and I've never had that problem. But you know, I don't think you should have that problem with this thing. I haven't, so I wouldn't worry about that if I were you. So, you know, overall on this thing, there are some knives I do prefer more of, you know, the same size, type, you know, and type. And one of those knives would be the Spyderco Tenacious. I just like the handle more. I like that G10 handle. I just really like the feel of it, and I like how it has that thumb ramp with the jimping on there. I just like the feel of the handle more. But their blade shapes are pretty close. The Spyderco Tenacious has a little bit more of an upsweep on it, so you know, this is just a better EDC blade, and I think it holds your hand on there better. But I do like the lock on the benchmade griptilian a lot more, and it's the benchmade griptilian is a lot faster opening, and it has a little bit of a bigger blade. But you know, I still would go for the Spyderco Tenacious. But that's just my opinion. So you're going to be spending about around $80 on this blade, depending where you get it, which I think is a pretty good price for a benchmade, because those things, you know, benchmades go pretty expensive. So you know, this is one of their cheaper models, but I'll never call it bad quality. It's great quality, and you'll see a lot of reviews on these just because they're so popular, just because they're such great knives. So yeah, overall, awesome knife. I recommend it to anyone, you know, as long as it's legal to carry in your area. Sadly, it's not in mine. I have the 2-inch rule, which, you know, kind of sucks. I can't carry a blade more than 2 inches. So you know, this is more of a outdoor camping knife, or a knife in the home for me. But you know, still awesome knife, great for defense or EDC. Not many complaints at all, if any. That's the benchmade griptilian model 550 HG. Bladeblabber out.